Never heard that, but you know that's the origin of cap. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look.
There's a principle that
Right.
we have to follow.
Yeah.
We have to have.
You know, be true to yourself. You know, you don't have.
And when I came back, the place was a mess. So I knew I was a mess.
Deep in here now. Now
It's
deep.
incredible. I love it.
Me
That's
too.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And applying the recovery, I thought.
Chapter 5 in the basic text talks about what can I do? And it talks about people coming out of jails and institutions, you know? And I mean, one of the first things they mention, man, is you got to get help. You got to get help. You got to get help. Now, how you see it, I don't know. All of us won't see it the same, but you got to get some help. For most of y'all that know me, I'm a sports guy. I'm a sports kind of guy. You know, I love playing golf. Me and John play golf on a regular basis. I love football. You know what I'm saying? I love basketball. What you have to understand about all of this stuff, even recovery, this shit is a team sport. This is a team sport. Ain't no individual sport here. You know what I mean? You need somebody. You need somebody that went through what you're doing. You need somebody in the trenches with you. I don't know about the women, but the men listen to the football games. You know, and these guys talk about, man, I play for my guy. They ain't sending you on the street to play for your damn self. Start off playing with your family, playing for your family, playing for your loved ones, and then spread that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know the attitude we can have, man, I done did 10, 12 months in that damn jail. Fuck that bullshit. I'm going to do what I want to do. That ain't team sport. You know? I looked at the Super Bowl between San Francisco and Kansas City. And what I'm looking at, through my lens, I'm looking at who playing together as a team. Hey, Patrick Mahomes, boy, that's my dude, man. Patrick Mahomes had some dudes that everybody else said won't measuring up. And he was like, shit, those my teammates, man. Those my teammates. I'm going to ride and die with them. This one thing he said in a playoff game, Patrick Mahomes threw a dude a pass. Scantly or somebody, he dropped the ball. Post-game interview, Patrick said, maybe I put too much zip on the ball. Next time I throw it to him, it's going to be different. You know, and that's what he did. In the game against whoever it was, a game against Baltimore. Baltimore had him. It was like a 3rd and 4, 35, something like that. The same pass. This time, he lofted it. He put a different touch on it. The dude was running. He stopped, turned around, and caught it in the breadbasket. First down, game over. You know what I'm saying? Game over. They were playing together as a team, man. Watch everybody now. Watch the sports, man. I always tell my wife, you know, everybody looking at different things when they're looking at sports. So this is how I look at the game. You know what I'm saying? I look at the game, man, as like, because they'll tell you, the best team don't always win. Team that plays together is the one that wins. Look here, man. When I got sick, man, and went to the hospital. When I came home, guess who was the first one to come see me? John. First one to come see me. When my sister, yeah. My sister passed. Man, guess who was the first one that showed up? John. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man. Me and John are teammates, man. We teammates. And we don't have to talk about it. It's reciprocated. All that he do for me, I do the same thing for him. You know what I'm saying? Man, look, I was in the hospital. Me and my son, my wife and my daughter had made a run. Me and my son was in there. And I told my son, I said, man, Give me my telephone and let me look at some of these messages that I got. I opened my telephone up, and man, I had 42 messages. 42 messages that I had on the telephone. I opened that shit up, man, and I'm telling you, tears started flowing down my eyes, down my cheeks. You know? My son said, "What's wrong, Dad? What's wrong?" I said, I'm all right. I'm just having a moment here. You know? Flashback. I can remember being out there in the street, man, and bullshit happens. Shit happens, because life goes on. Shit happens. I ain't have nowhere near that kind of support. Here I am today, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I got 42 messages, man. And I ain't by myself. There's a whole lot of people, man, that don't get that. You know? And man, I got that from being involved in a team sport. I got that from being involved in Narcotics Anonymous. You know? Man, I'm still getting well wishes. You know what I'm saying? To come to me and tell me, man, look, we miss you and you know, we wish you the best and all of that. You know what I mean? And so it's a reflection of what I have done myself. I did my part. In a team sport, everybody got a part to do. You know, my part was to show up. My part was to show up. How you gonna be a member and you show up like once every 2-3 months? You got to show up on a regular basis, man. Chapter 5 of the big book, man. I mean, of the NA book. Chapter 5. What can we do, man? We need to get outside of ourselves, man. We need to go to a meeting, connect with somebody, and become a part of that team, that group, man. 12, first tradition. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. You know, or our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. You know what I mean? For me, this is how I see it, man. That's a team. That's a team. That's a team sport. You know? Because I heard that sometimes. Oh man, I don't like the meetings. I don't go to the meetings. There's a whole lot of bullshit going on in the meetings and all that. You know, there's a whole lot of bullshit going on in the street too. You know what I'm saying? But you run to that. You run to that kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Something that can save your life, you run away from it. You know? Oh man, I can't do that shit because my friends, you know, how they gonna look at me once I get clean? You know, they're gonna punk me. They're gonna punk me once I get clean. My family members, they're gonna punk me once I get clean. You know? Man, you just don't know. Yeah, you just don't know. You know? Man, and we can't see early on in recovery, we can't see the big picture. You know, and it ain't nothing against you. When you read this book, man, it talks about a normal behavior. Everything that I just said is normal behavior. Nobody can see the big picture, man. You know, man, I use that all the time. I'm telling my daughter, man. Hey, listen, I'm helping parent her, my grandkids, you know. I was like, Sean, you got to make them see the big picture. They need to know why. They need to know why you sending them to school. Why you got them in sports. You know, they need to know why. Because one of the things we talk about is building a foundation, man. A foundation that can help you, man, build yourself a life. Build yourself a life. You know what I mean? Man, I made, you know, I mentioned before when I come in here, like, man, my wife got a brand new car. We drive. She let me drive sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Brand new car. I still remember how I came in here. No driving license, just coming out of jail. No driver's license. No car. and had to get rides to meetings. Irvin to come pick you up. You know what I'm saying? No driver's license, no car, no nothing. Had to depend on something. Had to humble myself because I owed the fines back then. I mean, that was like, man, 30-something years ago. You had to pay them fines then. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different now. But, you know, I can remember, man, brother that was in here, still in here. This brother got 20-something years. I had 30-something years, but this brother was here before I got here. Kenny H. Kenny H, man. Boy, and every time I see that brother, man, heart, man. We touch each other's heart, you know? Because this brother used to pick me up, man, and give me rides to meetings and all that, right? And I remember Ernest. I remember asking a female one time to give me a ride. She goes to Ernest. Ernest, should I give him a ride? It's amazing, you know? Ernest said, yeah, give him a ride. He's struggling. He's trying hard. Give him a ride. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to get confused by seeing the end product, the finished product. It ain't finished yet, but seeing the end product. You know, to think that I want a damn fool out there on the street. You know what I'm saying? Man, I was a goddamn fool, man. And I got a wife that went through that with me. I mean, me and her can talk about this stuff now. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't no animosity. If one of your family members come to you and try to say something about what you've been doing, oh, there you go, starting that shit again. You know what I'm saying? And that shit good for you. Somebody need to call you on your shit. You know what I'm saying? Somebody need to call you. Your friends, if your friends ain't doing it, somebody need to call you on your shit. You know what I mean? And man, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that, man, I found my way to this program. You know, man, this thing done changed my life, man. And let me tell you this, man, before I shut up. When I was in the hospital, man, I saw some people in the hospital that had to make adjustments in their life. Just like I'm having to make adjustments in my life. Just like y'all gonna have to make adjustments in y'all life. You know? It ain't like you isolated, you the only one that got to do this. There are a lot of people, man, that got to make adjustments in their life. For whatever. You know what I'm saying? I had to make adjustments in my life because of addiction. And then I had to make adjustments in my life because of some health issues. You know? And I'm going to tell you this, man. Years ago, a brother from New York, Brother Clarence, was at the meeting. And somebody had asked him before the meeting, hey, Clarence, man, how you keep that attitude like that? You know what I'm saying? And Clarence said this: even if you die, you got to know how to live. Even if you die, you got to know how to live. Even if I'm an addict, I got to know how to live. Even if I got one leg one knee that been replaced, I got one kidney that been taken out, I got to know how to live. And I'm telling you, it ain't all coming from me. Man, more and more and more, I find out that I be wrong about shit. That's why I got to run it through somebody. Man, that's a hell of a job trying to know what the pulse of me is when I don't want to look at me. That's a hell of a job. You're just like me. Majority of the time, you're going to get that shit wrong. And then you're going to be like, well, I thought. I assume get your ass in trouble. You know what I mean? So, man, try to build a foundation while you're here, man. You know what I'm saying? Try to build a foundation while you're here. Because I'm telling you, like I said, man, after the surgery, I realized how serious this shit was, man. And then the kicker was, after I came home, a week or so after I was home, 5 people died. 5 people died. That could have been me. That could have been me. That's why I'm here today. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I got more work to do. I got more work to do. Man, this is my passion. This is John's passion. To carry that message, man, to the still sick and suffering addict. You know? And I was like, man, hey, I don't even ask questions no more. I don't even ask questions no more. Why me and not him and all that? You know what I'm saying? I don't even ask him questions no more. I thank God, man, for what he has done for me in the past. I'm thanking for what he's doing for me now. And I'm going to thank him, man, for what he'll do in the future. They said in the basic text, as a project, get a God of your understanding. As a project, get a God of your understanding. Because of my understanding, 30 years ago, I didn't think I was going to live to be 40. And if I had any kind of medical issues, I'm dead. You know, one of my fantasies was, look, man, just fill it hype up, give it to me, let me take me out my misery. I'm so grateful that shit is far, far, far in the past. You know what I'm saying? Man, if you're living, man, make some of it. You know what I mean? It's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. You know what I'm saying? Man, this my guy right here. Hey, my wife didn't want me to come.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cut it out.
Yeah, she didn't want me to come.
I can see why now. Hell, you're gonna have a stroke, man.
Yeah. So we compromised. I came, but I'm gonna leave early.
Hey, I got your apples in my car. Robert dropped off.
Man, I just thought about Robert.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna unlock my car and you can just grab them out the back.
All right. Hey, good seeing y'all. I got to go over here and holler at Pam.
Hey, they're in the back seat.
And I love you all. I love you all. Yeah.
He showed up that same day.
All right, my car's open. See with the light on.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a bag of
It's in the back.
apples right behind the driver's seat. That GMC. Man, I tell you what, y'all missed Marshall, didn't you? Yo. It's just a bag, but he can help you. It's, all right. John got you covered. I tell you what, man. Y'all better be careful what team y'all jump on. But I do recommend the recovery team. You know, he got me thinking when I got clean, it's hard to think like that team, because it's, how we are. We get selfish, self-centered. It's always about us. But as time goes by, and then now years go by, Marshall makes a lot of sense. Because I was sitting there thinking as he's talking, you guys are a byproduct of a team effort. You got the sheriff lets us in here. The COs cooperate with us. We got no problem getting speakers coming in here. We got folks who love to come, be part of this, bring a little outside in for you guys. And not only that, but one of my best sayings, I love it when every meeting, well, we don't read it at every meeting, but there's a line in the basic text that says an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose that desire to use drugs, and find a new way to live. And it's that new way to live is what helps us stay off of that desire to use. But that new way to live, it's all about teamwork, whether you know it or not. Team, T-E-A-M, together, everybody achieves more. Old Sheriff Woody made that clear to me one day when I was down in his jail. And but if you think about it, we're teaching the team spirit from day one. That's the truth. So as you progress from being that selfish, self-centered, all about me newcomer addict, you're getting a good hit while you're here because you're getting some information, some education, and you're getting some resources. And if you start chasing that information and chasing that education, whether it makes sense or not, if you chase those resources, whether it makes sense or not, even though it goes against your addiction mindset, one day you'll be glad you did that. Because the next thing you know, you'll have a whole bank worth of, recovery capital, recovery progress. And I always say it, you know, we fantasize on the drug get high, but wait till you find that recovery get high. You know what I mean? Because once you get that good recovery high, you probably won't want to go back to the drug high. Now, we got a great speaker tonight. I know he's a great speaker because I've seen the magic and the work he does out in the community. But I don't think I've ever heard him tell a story, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. He may suck for all I know. But I know one thing. I see the benefits and the reward of the work he does with the folks over at McShin. And I hear what people say about people. And this guy, I don't know if he'll talk about it much or not, but he's supposedly an amazing breathwork master or whatever it's called. I don't even know what you call it, but I've had big guys come out of his breathwork crying like a little baby, man. I said, man, John, you got to do it. I said, no, if I'm going to be crying like that, I ain't doing it, man. But I don't want to take up no more time. Frank, come on up here and tell us what you got. Give Frank a warm welcome. Take as long as you need.
Woo. So, my name is Frank Cordovano, and I am an alcoholic. I am an addict. I am a person in long-term recovery. Just like you're sitting in your seats today, I own my seat in any room I go into. So, it's funny being in front of a camera. Years ago, I used to be on camera a lot, but I saw in a meeting the other day, a friend of mine had a shirt on, and it said, "Recover loudly so that others won't die in silence." Okay? I recover loudly. I let people know who I am. You know, we talk about in the traditions in NAAA, it's all about anonymity, okay? I want people to know who I am and what's possible in recovery. And yeah, John talked about the breathwork. I'll talk a little bit about that. Maybe I'll talk about it a lot. I don't know. I'm a New Yorker, okay? Obviously. I came here from LA 4 years ago. And I came here just for a couple of months to work with people in recovery and teach what I do. And then the pandemic hit, and now I'm a person who loves Richmond. I remember the first time, one of the first jobs I got because I was new. I knew nobody here. I was working as the weekend recovery coach over at McShin. And I used to bring people to this man. I used to drive the bus, big yellow bus, over here for the meetings. And he didn't know anything about me. He says, "Who's this fool?" And he gets on his phone and he calls and he texts somebody in New York that he knows really well, who he did a movie with. And he says, "Do you know this Frank Cordovano?" And immediately my friend John gets back, "Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's one of my best friends." I don't know if he says one of my best friends, but now John, our friend, he lives in Italy. And that's all possible. I'm going to talk to you tonight about what is possible, okay? If you just stick around, okay? First day I came into a meeting, I did not intend on going to a meeting or get sober, okay? I was homeless in New York City and living in the tunnels of Grand Central Station. Now, anybody that knows New York, okay, knows that that's about the worst place to end up because it's about life and death every day. And I hadn't bathed in weeks, hadn't eaten, and I was going to a place that they had coffee and donuts, not knowing what it was all about. And I walked down these brownstones, this place, I see this plaque on the wall that says mustard seed. I didn't know. And I walk in, and it happens to be one of the oldest AA meetings in New York City. I did not come to get sober. I was stanky. I had long brown hair. I sat in the back, okay? It was an anniversary meeting with people talking about time, you know, how much they had and everything. And about halfway through, this big grizzly bear guy called Max, he comes over to me and he says, "How you doing, kid?" I was 32 at the time, long brown hair. And I said to him, "I think I'm going to die." And he said, "Maybe." He said, "You keep on living like an animal the way you are, you're probably going to do it. It's probably going to happen to you." He says, "But if you stay here and do what we do, possibly, just possibly, you could have a life you never could imagine," okay? And I didn't believe any of that shit. I didn't believe a word of it. I was hungry. I was tired. He offered me a place to crash on his couch, okay? Big guys were coming over to me and giving me hugs. I'm saying, "Get the fuck away from me." Excuse my French, but they called me Angry Frank back in New York back then. And for good reason. Because all of my stuff comes out of trauma. I'm going to talk to you tonight about trauma. Anybody here know trauma? And where it gets you? That's my past. And I will tell you that May 23rd of this year will be 41 years. I'm catching up. Catching up to you, big guy. But if I catch up to you, that's not good shit for you. John's got, I don't know, 6 or 7 months on me or something like that. 8 months, a year, I don't know. It doesn't matter. All I have is today. I was scared shitless when I first came in. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Okay? But I did what they told me to do. I went to meetings, hung out with the guys. No, I take that back. The first NA meeting I went to, there was this cute little blonde sitting in the back, and I went up to her to ask her to be my sponsor. And this little Italian guy, another Frank, we call him the Silver Fox. He came up to me, "I'm your sponsor, get away from her." These guys adopted me, and they took care of me. And the last 4 years have been absolutely amazing. Max said, one of the most important things Max said to me ever was the second day, okay? He said to me, "The most important thing for you to do every day, whether it's recovery or life, is to do things that make you feel good about yourself." Because all I was doing before was doing things to feel good, to get away from the pain that I felt. Like I said, my stuff comes out of trauma. And the first bit of trauma and I didn't even know about this until 2 years ago, because I have a lot of blank spaces about my childhood, okay? Someone put me into a deep meditation and said, "Go back to the first memory of when you were a child." And what I saw was, I grew up in a place called Stuyvesant Town in Manhattan, okay? Like a little city in the middle of New York City. Best place to grow up. It was really cool. We had playgrounds, everything. And what I saw was, I was at a swing park. There's different playgrounds. Some were basketball, some were swings, you know, whatever. And I saw myself on this swing, okay? My mother pushing me and stuff like that, getting higher, and I fell off this swing, cracked open my knee, was bleeding all over the place, and my mother walked away from me, okay? And other women took care of me. What does a 4-year-old little boy think about when his mother walks away from him? When he's in pain. And I felt like I was a piece of shit. I felt I wasn't loved. I didn't know until I was 18 years old that my mother, when she was 6 years old, she lived in a townhouse on the Upper East Side with her family. She watched her mother her brother and two sisters die in a fire in the same house while she was there. So she had total trauma at 6 years old and survivor guilt. And she could never get close to people. I have a wonderful daughter, Julia, who's 30. She lives in LA with her mother, where I used to live. And 10 days I'll be with this, March 10th, I'm flying out to LA to be with her. My ex-wife has even let me stay at their house, and she'll be 30 March 18th. One of the beauties of sobriety is that little baby girl. We adopted her at 2 days old, and 6 months later, she wasn't doing certain things, and we were told to go to the best pediatric neurologist in New York. He took this little baby, put her in an MRI machine, okay? And he comes out by after an hour, and he says, "I'm sorry, but Julia will never walk or talk because she was born without a right frontal lobe. This is basically hemiparesis that controls your whole left side." I was pissed, cursing at God. Went back to the rooms, and they told me about early intervention programs and all kinds of stuff. 6 years old, she had to have her hip broken, so that was opened up, and she was in a spica cast from her toe up to her chest for 6 months, laying down. She had to learn how to walk and talk, had to walk again. I will tell you that she skis, she rides horses, and 2 years ago, she graduated from Marymount College in LA on the dean's list in business. Miracles. That's my miracle girl, because she's taught me what adversity is all about. Now, she's got a huge gaming addiction that I found out about, and I'm going out there to find out what's really going on. Huh? I mean, she went through huge amounts of money that her mother had put aside for college and stuff, but that's another issue. That's the possibilities of staying sober for me. Now, when this happened when I was 4 years old, I felt like I was unloved, okay? And I was a geek, okay, really, really smart. Went to church, Catholic, was an altar boy. And between 10, 11, and 12, I was abused physically, mentally, and violently by a priest, and was raped by a priest. And thought here was 10-year-old boy thinking that was my fault. And when I was 12 years old, and my friend Timmy O'Connor came to me and said, "Hey, your parents are out. Let's get some stuff from your father." And we raided his liquor cabinet, got a quart of Shenley's, blended whiskey. Went to around the corner, got this guy to go in the liquor store and buy a quart of Thunderbird. We drank it. Went to Murphy Park, which is a hangout place. And I got sick. I got, violently drunk, violently sick, came home, and I lied all about it. And that was exactly how my recovery was. But it made me forget about the shame, because all I felt was shame. At the same time, also, my older sister incested me. So here I had a man who was supposed to protect me, and a woman, my sister. So I was totally fucked. So I found alcohol, I found drugs. Like I said, I was really smart, so I went to this place, Stuyvesant High School in New York City. It's mostly science and math, and found the smartest guys, and we blew up a lab making LSD in the lab, these huge sinks that were, never got caught for that. And it's just escalated and escalated and escalated and escalated. I ended up going to West Virginia, okay, where I went to school. I played football, okay? I was a strong safety. I was a strong safety because I didn't care about, I wanted to hurt the other men, okay? And I had a coach, to show you how old I am. My coach was Bobby Bowden that went then to Florida State. I still have, or I had for a lot of years, cleat marks on my back because one time I tried to shoestring Franco Harris as he was going down. He just stepped on my back. Yeah, I'm old, guys. Okay, that's when he was at Penn State. Came back to New York. First, I was doing my father's business. Then I got into insurance. Made a lot of money. I was really good. I was a great salesman, okay? And I tell people now, watch my feet, not my mouth, okay? Because I'm a great manipulator. I can sell you anything. So I thought it'd be smart. Why don't I open up country western bars? Opened up two, Annie Oakley Saloon, which was like a dive bar, which I used to bartend at, and another place, City Limits, with the bull and everything. And that's when I really went down the rabbit hole with cocaine and freebase and speedballs when I couldn't afford it. And it all came crashing down. And I lost them all because I was stealing from my partners. And my partners wanted to kill me, and they were not partners in New York that you've screwed over. But it all came crashing down when I ended up in the tunnels. And then I walked into that magical place. And I wasn't looking for recovery. I just wanted to get coffee and donuts. All I can tell you guys is that I love recovery, okay? I love recovery because I had no idea what it was all about, and all I did was, but I was ready to do anything you guys told me. Do this, do that, go to meetings, do the steps, whatever. I would do anything because I did not want to go back to where I was. And I was lucky. 2 years later, I started a huge career on Wall Street, running hedge funds. There's certain points in my recovery that are like tipping points, okay? Almost 5 years into my recovery, I had a guy, I was at a firm, Oppenheimer, and one of the guys there was in recovery. He became my sponsor. He was like, and he was a guy's guy. We used to go motorcycle racing, and we used to go rock climbing, okay? We used to go skiing together. And he was like the guru. October 19th, 1987 came along, the crash, and he disappeared because his father had accused him of stealing from him. And he was like the guru. And 3 months later, didn't see him that much. And I didn't see him that much. They asked me to go check on him. And I went to his townhouse on 88th and Park. And I saw there another friend of mine who was also a sponsee of Dick's. And he said to me, don't go up there. Don't go upstairs. And I did. And I found Dick had hung himself. And he was dead about 4 days. And I still have that picture of all the stuff coming out of his nose and everything. That kind of trauma stays with you. It just stays with you. 6 months later, I met my ex-wife, Julia's mother, at a dance. I think she had all of 60 days, and the women just beat the hell out of me mentally for being with a newcomer. The only thing that saved me was 6 months later, we got married. And like I said, I was 88, so it was 6 years later. We tried to have a baby, couldn't have a baby. We did everything, and adopted Julia, and that happened. These are all tipping points where every time something happened, I would go back to the rooms and tell people, and they were my teachers. Okay, I wasn't going and finding somebody at a company that I worked at. I didn't go to my family because they didn't understand what it's all about. That when something happens like to you, pain came to me. My brain says, pick up, get away from it. And I have people that just told me, point blank, guys, they say, don't pick up no matter what. Your ass falls off, you pick it up, you bring it to a meeting. And I did that. Now, the biggest thing that happened to me was 22 years ago, a little bit more than that now. I was in a meeting. My office was down on Wall Street, 44 Wall. And I was in a meeting at Trinity Church, which is on the board, right, Broadway and Wall Street. 8 o'clock meeting. And 8:45, we felt the ground shake. We thought it was an earthquake. We went upstairs and saw the second plane hit the North Tower. It's where I used to work. At the top of it, a place called Cantor. And I knew that 14 of my friends were gone. And I could not get rid of that feeling for years. Okay, no matter what. Trauma is something that happens to us, and it's not the instance of the trauma. It's the energy that we attach to and keeps in it. And I started talking about it about 6 or 7 years ago because I had read a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kamp. And he says that trauma stays in the body, especially sexual and violent trauma. It stays right here, down here. You can't talk it out. Therapy doesn't help. The only thing help is getting some kind of energy. And I had been going to the top trauma therapists in New York, trauma therapists. I was paying huge amounts of money every week, and they kept on telling me, let's talk about what happened and how you feel about it. And I said, I don't want to talk about what happened. I want to get rid of it. I was lucky. A guy by the name of Sonny, 7 years ago, came up to me in a meeting. He's a big rock and roller. And he said to me, if you really want to get rid of it, he says, I'll teach you a technique, a breathing technique where you can get it all, not all of it, some of it out of it, and finally feel good about yourself. Remember, Max had said to me in the second day, only do things that make you feel good about yourself. I hadn't found anything. So I said to Sonny, I said, you mean I'm going to pay you for me to lie on the ground, breathe in a different way, listen to music, and my life's going to change? He goes, yeah, you're right. This about the second or third song, I started crying like a baby, bawling like a baby. Shit was coming up. That's what you do is you breathe into your belly, you go, and you take another one here, and you let it go, and you keep doing that. All the stuff gets dislodged. It's not about meditation. It's not about going to sleep. This is about getting the stuff out. And I said to him after it was all over, I said, what the just happened? He says, you went from your head to your heart. Every morning when I don't do this kind of work, I wake up with these two attorneys inside my head. Especially if it has to do anything with my daughter. One saying this and one saying that. And I've got a jury box of 12 people criticizing me. But when I lay down and I do this breathing, all the answers are right here. remember Henry the first time I saw him 7 months ago, and he was bouncing off walls. I mean, bouncing off walls. And he came in to see me. And I also said one thing also that happens to you, you can't chase it. But if you do this work, we do this breathing, it releases DMT into your body, into your bloodstream. That's excellent. Take that. I didn't know ecstasy came out after I got sober, but it's this euphoric feeling. Henry heard that. He went at it like I've never seen anybody in that first time. And he had this transformation, like all this stuff coming up. I love going in there. I do the men on Mondays at 9:30. I go down to the women on Thursday morning, tomorrow morning. No, what's today? Tuesday. Thursday morning, I'll be going down to the women's house and I do it with them. They call me down there, they call me fucking Frank because I make them cry. I don't make them do anything. It's their bodies. With my mother, I never had a relationship with her. Never had a relationship with her. Even my daughter, who's special needs, she can never really get close with her because she had the survivor guilt. But I was out in LA, and let's see. Right now, that would be about 8 years ago. She was coming up, she was 97, still living at home, had a nurse there. But my sister called me and she says, come back, Frankie, come back. It's almost time. And I came, and my mother was not lucid at all, most of the time. But for a 20-minute period of time, my sister had left the house, had left the apartment, and my mother said, Frankie, sit here. And I sat down, and she said to me, I never could tell you how much I love you and how much you meant to me. I've been waiting for that all my life. And when she died, a week later, and I came back to New York, and they had all kinds of, they had a big funeral and the whole bit, and everyone's coming, oh, it's too bad. She died, so, I said, wait. She had a long life. I'm here to celebrate her. And I was. Because I had put to sleep my regret, my anger at her. Possibilities. That's what recovery is about, possibilities. Once you put down a drug and a drink, that's only the tip of the iceberg, guys, okay? Because when you go out there, you're going to get nailed. Sorry, but that's what life's about. It comes at you. My purpose in life is I left Wall Street after that first time I did the breath work. I started doing it almost every day, and I got certified all over the world. And there's a whole nother story with a wolf that I met on the top of a mountain in New Mexico, but I won't go there. The name of my company is called Lone Wolf Breathwork because I met a wolf who told me to work with men. And after that thing that happened that first time, I left Wall Street about a year later, and I devote all my time to teaching. I also work as a sober companion, all kinds of other stuff. Working with whatever. I've met some unbelievable people in recovery. One of my really good friends from LA just died a couple of months ago, Matty, in his pool. You guys know who he was. He was a good guy. And I don't care what happened at the end with the ketamine or what, but he cared about people. If I did not walk into that room on 37th Street and Park Avenue, I would not be sitting here. I would not be able to tell you stories about this phenomenal 30-year-old girl who I'm going to see in 13 days, 12 days. I have this vest on here, Wounded Warriors. I'm an adrenaline junkie, okay? I like to ski. I like to ski fast. I work with Wounded Warriors, okay? And I teach them adaptive skiing. I started doing that after 9/11 and all of that stuff. And one of the disciplines that I do is I work with the paraplegics, where they put them in a capsule, okay? And it's on a cantilever that swings. So it's got skis that go like that. And I ski behind it. I'm a strong, big guy, so I ski behind it. And I pull these ropes. These guys, they can't walk, okay? They don't have use. And I see them living their life again. That's what recovery is about. Living. I had no idea who I was supposed to be. I'm finally coming back to who I was always supposed to be now. Now, I'm in my third act, they tell everybody. The first act was, all the stuff with the drugs and everything, and the college, being on a soap, this, that, the other thing, going down the rabbit hole. My second act was getting sober and, being on Wall Street and everything else. My third act is now, and I'm happy and everything. Don't have the money at all like I used to have, I don't give a shit. Even at night now, because Julia's coming up, I had to go out and get a new car because my old car, which I loved, and I drove back and forth to California. I had to get a brand new transmission. It was going to cost me like $5,000. So then I got a new car. Yeah, a couple of years old, but a great car. CX-5. It drives, it's SUV, but it drives like a sport. It's really tight, so you can go around turns and shit. And I had this thing coming with Julia's birthday, so I wanted to put together some cash so I can, I think I'm going to take her to the Grand Canyon for a couple of days. So I decided to start driving for Uber. I love it. I love it. I love driving. I love talking to people. The other day, I'm driving it around, and I've only been doing it a few weeks. And I see on the thing, Henry. I don't know a lot of Henrys in Richmond. I don't know a lot of Henrys. And I come around the corner, and I see this guy with all the tats. And he jumps in the car, and I go, fucking Henry. And from where he was 7 months ago, now he's assistant house manager, And I drove him back to the house. I fed him some beef jerky that I had in my glove compartment, and we've reconnected, This is my family. You guys are my teachers. My family before, I think God gives us our friends, our people in recovery to make up for some of the family that we had. And I'm always thinking about what do I want to do next and all, okay? And I've learned how to meditate and manifest and blah, 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 law of attraction. And whenever I look at something I want, I know that, and my God, by the way, is not a religious God because of my past, okay? I take sunrise hikes with my dog Kona down to the James River. When the sun comes up, I go, hey, Pops, thanks for a nice day. Thanks for a great day. And then I say a prayer. We all have third step prayers, but I have a prayer that I say, God, universe, put me in the places you want me to be, with the people you want me to be with, doing the things you want me to do, saying the things you want me to do. Thank you for all the joy and challenges you bring to me. And I let go. So it said. I never get an answer of no from my higher power on anything. It's either yes, that I get it, not yet, or I have something better for you. And those I have something better for you is like when you're in the hallway and you don't know what door is going to open up. I've had magnificent doors open up. Because I'm not attached. They call me Woo-Woo Frank here now. I love recovery, guys. You call me up at 4 in the morning, I'll come see you. Love going to coffee. Love hiking. I take the guys now. I do the breath work on Monday. I take the guys out, a whole bunch of them. It started with like about 5, now it's about 10 to 20. We go out hiking. We go down to Pocahontas. And it's great. Because the only way out of trauma is some kind of energy. And physical exercise and hiking and stuff, especially the hikes that I take these guys on, right? They change the energy in your body. That's how you get away from trauma. I absolutely am convinced that most, if not all, people that use substances, I like calling it substance use disorder, it comes out of trauma. I have a mentor in Vancouver, Gabor Mate, that he says that we have pain from some kind of trauma. And just like a muscle injury, you take an aspirin or something like that, the trauma that addicts or whomever you want to call us find, it's a pain we have to do. And I have this brain of mine has default settings of maladaptive coping skills. Okay? It can be alcohol, it can be drugs, it can be sex, it can be food, it can be money. And it works for a short time. But most of them have horrendous consequences behind them. Stay here, do what we do, and you could have a life you never could have imagined. I'm telling you, it's real. I never, ever, ever, ever could have imagined that I'd be standing up here, with you guys. I love doing this. Love doing this. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. Yeah.
Frank the Tank. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, they used to call me in West Virginia Frank the Tank, so now they've got it here
West
too.
Virginia Frank. Hey, before we close, I got a friend of mine visiting me from Indiana, his sponsorship brother, old timer in recovery. And if he took the trouble out to come see me and visit me, I said, well, we usually have time for a couple words. David. Now, I know he ain't much to look at, but his wife thinks he is, so. That's pretty
Okay. Hey guys, how we doing? Yeah, I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be in recovery today. I was thinking, as everybody was talking, I met John when I had 104 days in recovery. And I remember that specifically because I was overwhelmed with being around. I think at the time, John had 27 years, about 14 years ago. And I was overwhelmed. There were some other guys there that had 35, 40 years. And I remember thinking I was just like a peon, if you will, on the time of how much time in recovery I had. But, and I get kind of nervous getting up here. You can probably tell. I was thinking about, that was 14 or 15 Novembers ago. And yeah, if I could just say anything, I'm grateful to be here from Indianapolis. And that I remember back then hearing people like John and Frank and the gentleman was up here before saying if somebody would have told them that they knew this was what their life was going to be like X amount of years later, they wouldn't have believed them. And I heard that so many times. I actually got tired of hearing that. But I can't say anything else other to you guys and gals than that honest to God, that if you'd have told me 14 and a half years ago this is what my life would have been like, I would have thought you were on dope. I seriously just would not have believed you that as a result of connecting with guys like John and Frank and the other gentlemen, it's just nothing short of miraculous what my life is like today. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, not the strongest guy in the room, not anything, probably the best, but, I did just submerge myself with guys like John and Frank and really just did what they said. It's like I heard one of them say, if I want to go work on cars, I'm going to get around people that work on cars, right? And so when I had enough, I'm a multiple overdose survivor. I've sat in your guys' chair incarcerated multiple times that, I just had enough. And I tried it every different which way. It was just when I really stuck and stayed with guys like this that are up here in front of you, long and behold, ended up in jail and I stopped getting high. And so I just, like to say, if I can do it, I promise you guys can too. I wish you guys all the best of luck and grateful to be here.
Good boy. I like to clean it up by saying, if you do what we do, you'll get what we get. And to me, faith is exactly that. You're going to get what you get when you do what you do. If you do active addiction related stuff, you're going to get active addiction related results. You do recovery related stuff, you're going to get recovery related results. And there ain't no limit to the recovery related results. That's what I keep hearing over and over and over. As usual, you guys are really good. We really appreciate y'all coming down here, listening to us, and we love coming in here, obviously. We thank the sheriff, the staff, the crew, everybody involved, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
John, come here. Come here. Look at how many people are watching right now. 3,020. We just watched it go to 100. No, seriously, we've been watching it climb from 100, and it's at 3,020. Watch. 3,189 is going up. I'm serious. They're somehow on our Facebook. It's off of Facebook. No, it's not. Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. 3,389. Dude, what? Bro, don't end it. 3581. We've never had more than 50. 37. Frank, come here. Hey, yo, Frank, come here real quick. Look. Dude, look. There's 3,909 people viewing it. We watched it grow from 100. Yeah. We watched it grow from 100. It's been growing. It just hit 4,000. We've never got more than 50 people watching. I don't know what the fuck is happening. It's at 40. Yeah, it's at 4,200.
And they're watching the
It just
rerun.
grew. They're watching the whole video. Yeah, it just grew 1,000. It just grew 1,000 in less than a
Frank got
minute.
connections, man.
I don't know what Frank did.
had known more. We had more people on it.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's see if it goes up or down.
I appreciate it, man.
4,000. Okay.
You doing it. I ain't doing shit, you know? Yeah.
What I do is totally out of the box.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I know Cal said that come in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
now
and I
it's
have
42.
to, I got to text Cal tomorrow because I'm doing this
Now it's
workshop on
4,200.
Saturday. I want her to come as my guest if she's available.
All right, you got a number?
I do.
Yeah. Shoot her a chat. I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but.
Yeah, I do it, and then
5,400.
It's Reiki on people while I'm doing the breath work.
We've never had more than 50, and it's been climbing since it hit 100
Like
like 5 minutes ago. John, it's at 5,587.
That means what happened, I bet. Facebook,
I have no idea what happened.
Facebook will periodically boost something like this.
Well, its visibility just blew up. Yeah.
Well, it's on, you can get it. Just go to our Facebook page.
Well, no, no, but that was earlier. That was.
Do we have anyone saying anything?
We had a few comments. Yeah, we had a few comments. Like,
5,000
not a lot.
hit
6,000.
And what?
No, it just now hit all this. Yeah, I've never seen this in my whole life. So we're just sitting here watching the number grow. 6,100.
You're gonna have to figure out. You're gonna have to figure out what happened so you can reproduce that.
And it's all through our Facebook page. It's all through.
But I mean, it's still
See, look.
live. I mean, there's still
6,349. Yeah. Thanks for coming, Frank. Hey, Frank.
not like that.
That would be a good thing to have.
The schedule for the yeah, you can just go to that screen and see.
All right, we'll see you later,
There's this guy, stranger that she saw.
Yeah, I don't know what brought that up.
So now it's
I'd love to believe it's got some sort of.